MSP Summit, September 2025 by Channel Partners in Orlando. Great event, big event, really enjoyed it. Had 13 great conversations with vendors and MSPs. Really well attended, well organized. I love working with Bob and the team there. The first interview was with Greg Talone from Cloud IBR. Really enjoyed it. Really interesting man. I look forward to talking with Greg some more and maybe even playing some golf. Logan, of course, from Vendasta. Fascinating platform that helps MSPs. They're in another area. They're moving towards, they want to move towards MSPs to see how they can help them grow. Russ Reeder. Oh my goodness. Great MSP, XTM. Really enjoyed talking to Russ. I'm always fascinated with the growth of those large kind of master MSPs. They are master MSPs. William Rubio, of course, from Call Tower. Love working with Call Tower. He's the CRO there. They're offering a lot of areas that really MSPs need to look to expand in. Great conversation with William. Scott, of course, Scott Furman from a very great conversation. He's head of operations there, and really interesting take on what he does and how he helps MSPs, how his firm helps MSPs. Jeff Hill from Stellar Cyber. Really like talking to Jeff. He's Bulldog. He's really interesting insights. Conversation went by really quickly. Great conversation with Jeff. Ryan Stoner, who I have known for a long time. He's now with Judy Security, doing really great things, helping MSPs. Zan Stevenson. Very interesting. We opened the conversation up with just finance and where he thought he was lacking, and really dove into it and can help people in it. Has great insight right all over, to what he does now in networking and helping MSPs. Niels. Yes, Niels was great too. He loves fixing things. He buys broken things and fixes them, just has an engineering mind, and how Keepit can help MSPs grow and help protect their clients. Great conversation with Neil. Paul, of course, Mander from Optory. Great conversation with Paul. The whole area, social engineering. I knew very little about this. I know a little bit more, but he's here to help MSPs. Jackie Robinson, of course, from, Anunta, right? From Connecticut, the state that I'm from. Great insight on how to help MSPs with their great desktop as a service. Michelle Raguso McBain, my longtime friend, been asking her to be on the podcast for years. She's now with a company called Red Access, doing great things there. Always love talking to Michelle. Great insight, great spirit, great energy. I just can't say enough great things about Michelle. And then lastly, of course, Cale Eisenberg, great company from Vercom. We're doing a lot of work with Vercom. Cale's got great insight. I've known Cale for 5 or 6 years now. We kind of touched base a while ago, but came back now. We have a lot of friends in common. We start off with a very interesting subject of barbershop quartets. He's a 2025 champion, and bring it right into helping MSPs with security and email security and other great services Vercom has. Great time there at the MSP Summit. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. I found myself at 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. I took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People ask me, how'd you do it? What's the secret? I need to lose weight. How'd you do it? How did I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually asked them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others.
So you like to find broken things and fix them?
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, so a big part,
I mean, we live in a society where everything gets thrown away. Nobody can do anything.
That's right. That's right.
And so my dad, I sort of was always a tinkerer, and I got to and I never learned anything from him because he was always fixing everything. And then I got to the US and I saw all this good stuff out there and just people throwing it away. So I started and then figured I got a knack for it, and that's what I do. So I pick up like old heaters, pellet stoves, and then you can pass them on to people that need them.
Isn't that something?
But it's super fun. It's good to get away from this whole IT stuff.
Right.
To be busy with your hands and do something actually where you can see the result. It either works or it doesn't.
And it's fun to getting to know how they work so you can fix them.
That's the part of it. Because once you do one or two, then it becomes an automatic. So everything that you then see from that moment on just expands the.
Wow.
I mean, pellet stoves, like all that stuff. People just throw it. There's four working parts in there.
Is that right?
And that's it. And it either works or they fix those pieces. A lot of times it's jammed or whatever it might be, and people just throw away all this crap.
It's amazing to me. Yeah, and even cars. You like to work.
Same thing. Yeah. So not with a new one because everything, but a lot of people say, well, it's only old cars you can work because they didn't have computers. But actually, even the ones that have, most of the stuff is, actually it's easier with these scans. You can figure out what's wrong, take them apart, and fix it.
Wow.
It's not hard. It's just doing it.
It's just doing it, and
don't worry about the outcomes. Like if you break it, you break it. Who cares?
Right. Yeah, it's not a big penalty to pay. And even like the carburetor, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, that was replaced by fuel injection, right?
Yeah.
But still, the delicateness of a carburetor was a masterful piece of equipment, wasn't it?
Exactly. But then you have to, again, it's a sensing of. Like there's also like welding. It's actually not what you see; it's what you hear.
Interesting.
So you know when it's a good weld. But it's just doing it. And in the beginning, you just break stuff. And down the line, you learn how to fix it.
Yeah. And you've always been this way.
No, actually, my dad was always this way. So you're sort of watching from afar. And then I'm originally from the Netherlands. And then I moved to the US and he was not there. So I said, well,
I say,
I'm just going to fix this myself because that's how we grew up. We never had anybody come over to fix anything.
Right. Yeah, very different times.
It's a mindset thing.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, you find out actually, wow, this is actually good fun. And then there's also a lot of opportunity with it. It pays for a lot of cruises.
Just side hustle.
Side hustle.
And you say, hey, just give me whatever, $100 for this thing. I fixed it, and you could use it. Yeah. And do you go to like Facebook Marketplace and find things?
Yeah, that's what Facebook Marketplace next door. And it's unbelievable people throw away. There's often not even. I have so many things where it's not even broken. It's just a reset of a fuse or whatever.
Really? And people do that because they just want a new item and they want new warranty or.
I think it's. Well, this is now makes me sound old, right? But the older generation, they just learn how they were hands on.
Right.
Nobody can do anything except getting on a PC or swipe on a laptop. It's nobody can think they can't do anything. So it's broke. Let's get the next one.
Let's move it.
And
Yeah.
Order it on Amazon. It's their next day. Why would I bother with this stuff?
Huh? Because it must be a nice sense of, I like to cook, Niels. So I go into the kitchen. It's relatively clean, clutter free. I start taking food out. I start feeding people. I clean as I go. When it's all done, I clean and I leave that kitchen the way it came in. I never in my professional life get to see a project from beginning to end like that. And it's a great sense of just completion. Exactly. You must feel that as well.
Well, that's what it is, right? Because you take something that's rusted or not working or whatever it may be, you fix it all up, make it look nice, and it's like brand new.
And it's brand new.
And a lot of the older stuff is actually better, right? If you look at, for example, the stoves and some of the machines, it's just better built.
Right. Real.
So why would you just
why'd you throw it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a silly thing, but we love it.
Good for you. Good for you. So we're here at MSP Summit in Orlando.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals this week?
Again, the key is constantly for us is I'm very much outside in, right? So and what that means to me is I've been in the backup archive, e-discovery, data management, security space for 25 years. Yes,
wow.
But if you look at it from a vendor perspective, like most vendors, people that you talk to approach everything from a solution perspective. And in general, I'm in love with problems. I'm super curious about stuff.
You're in love with problems.
Yeah, that's where it starts. If you really want to solve stuff, you have to be in love with the problem versus rushing to the solution. And I think, especially with things moving so quickly and markets moving quickly and customer needs changing so quickly, whether you talk to MSP, enterprise, partners, vendors, it doesn't make any difference. We're all trying to figure it out right now. So this is, going back to the curiosity part, having time to spend time with MSPs and lots of them and talk about different things and what makes them tick, what they're running into, what are the challenges, what are they seeing, what does it look like right now, what does it look like in 2027, and just have discussions around that is where you get this outside in view and understand where problems are going to go and where you can help. So to me, it's never about the sales pitch. It's actually about that part and sort of satisfying the curiosity part, and especially on the MSP side because it's so peer-to-peer. It's so direct. Like enterprises, you have to go through all these committees and all these groups and all this stuff. Here you hear it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
It's just different motions. It's real, and that's what I really like about it.
So Keepit helps MSPs do what?
So specifically, what we helping MSP specifically with is there's a massive adoption of SaaS applications, right? So the world is going to run on SaaS applications, 75% in 2028, if you believe the analysts and take that with a grain of salt. So then they have the same need from a data protection perspective. So if something goes wrong, and it can be, we all know ransomware, that's beaten, but it's still very, very relevant. People just make mistakes. And then the third part right now is there's a lot of unintended consequences, unintentional is what I call it, around AI. So I'm starting to use AI and then stuff happens with my data. How do I get it back? How do you recover? How do I make it available? All those things are going to have to be solved, and Keepit specifically is focused on that part of the market. Protecting your SaaS data and then also actions like recovery, but also over time doing more intelligent things with your data. And that's an unserved need right now because a lot of customers adopt SaaS and they basically believe at that point, well, I basically outsource the problem. The vendor is taking care of anything, and it's not true.
Interesting.
Because there's something called the shared responsibility model. With any adoption of SaaS, as a customer, you're still always responsible for your data, and a lot of customers miss that. And that leads then to, in the world we live in, which is probably as insecure as we've ever been, that leads to all kinds of challenges for your customers, right? And as an MSP, you have a responsibility to make sure that customers don't hurt themselves ultimately as part of this. I think the other piece to it, right, specific, why it's relevant, certainly to the MSP space, is that one, the need is there and the need is growing, like more and more workloads. But the other part is the problems are getting bigger. And you need to be doing what you data. So it's also a way for an MSP to build their business, right? It's highly profitable, it's very margin rich, and it ties ultimately to the other functions of the business, including security, making sure companies have a secure posture around this.
So the MSP has SaaS applications and so are their clients.
Yes.
So they come to Keepit to help them do what with them?
To help them protect that data, and then in case when things go wrong, to help them recover. Right. So if you look at the security posture as a whole, everybody's talking about building the walls higher and the moats deeper. But what happens if you breach? And it's not an if, it's a when. And that's where we are, where we say, simple, easy. You can recover from whatever happens, and you can move on with your life and move on with your business.
So let's say, give me some examples of a SaaS application that they would use that needs your help. Like,
yeah, the biggest one in the market is M365. So who's not using M365 or Google?
Sure. Salesforce. Yes.
Okta from an identity perspective, Entra ID. Because it's not just about the data part, right? But a lot of customers are sort of, don't understand. Like there's always this focus on the data side, but actually which is a data plane is how we think about it.
Interesting.
What's more important is actually the control plane, which is things like identity. And they're closely tied together. So for you, Joe, like if you have an identity that gives you access to a certain amount of data, types of data, all that type of stuff. Well, if any one of them gets compromised, you can't do what you're doing. And so that's where we help customers with that. But the number of SaaS applications is immense, right? I mean, it's in every, QuickBooks, Entra, Microsoft, Salesforce, Dynamics, DocuSign, the list goes on and on and on.
And this area of technology is called what? SaaS protection?
SaaS data protection.
SaaS data protection.
Yeah. And that's just actually sort of another thing. Like in enterprise, I think there's truly like a category for this, right? Because we really are focused on this specific category. And focus really matters. Like, so what we're not trying to be is everything to everybody. Because SaaS data protection is very different than traditional backup. Because everything is object-based, everything is via public API. And the backup it can be difficult, but the recovery part is actually the really hard part. And in the MSP space, what I find is that if you look at most solutions out there being used by the MSPs, it's sort of a Me Too play. It's just not very good. It doesn't really solve the problems. And so what you see in the MSP space especially, we're talking about SaaS data protection, but most of the time we're just talking about M365 data protection, which is just a small part in the whole
Interesting.
mix. And so, that can't be the only thing. You have to have a bigger picture around this.
So it seems to me, Niels, is that not only should MSPs, it seems like a relatively newer area for MSPs. So maybe some MSPs don't even know it exists.
It is. That's actually the crazy part with all this, man.
Right.
Like,
so you got to educate.
Yeah, exactly. Education is so big. People adopt all this stuff and they don't understand the consequences.
Right.
Again, they think they're outsourcing the problem.
Right. The vendor will take care of it.
Yes.
They shouldn't think that.
But even like, if you look at MSP and the whole market together, I mean, it's basically it's massive greenfield. Every customer needs it. Not every customer has it. Like only 25-30% of customers are actually backing up SaaS data, assuming again that the vendor's doing that. So that leaves a tremendous amount of opportunity, but also a tremendous amount of concerns. Knowing that most customers for their outcomes actually depend on these applications and the data that they have in it.
Wow. Okay, so let's say the MSP now understands there's a necessity for SaaS data protection. When they're looking for a vendor or partner to partner with, what questions should they be asking?
So a couple things. So one, it cannot just be about M365. So with Keepit, like we're focused, for example, on Microsoft as sort of an ecosystem as a whole. Because again, one of the key things is that if you want to protect M365, you need to protect Entra ID. Active Directory in the past, but everything that lives in M365 is associated with Entra.
Wow.
So if Entra goes down, nothing is working.
Wow.
Your whole system goes down at a point. So you got to have a bigger picture, and then as a customer, you really got to have a picture of using all these SaaS. What is it that we need to do from a data protection perspective? Is there enough coverage? And then ongoing, I would say, again, you have to sort of think through where customers are going to be, in 27, 28. And this is where focus really matters. The second part is you have to really pay close attention to cost. Because pretty much all the solutions out there, because they approach it as a Me Too, they basically, for example, if you do Microsoft backup, they take it out of Microsoft and then they push it right back into Microsoft. So that's not good from a data protection perspective. Like, it used to be 3-2-1, now it's 4-2-2-1 basically, but it should be separated and it should be immutable.
Interesting.
And if it isn't, you have a problem. The other part you have to really think about is the storage associated with it. Like the Microsoft prices are not getting, Microsoft is charging more every year for the data that customers store. And so if you have to pay for that as an MSP or as a customer, so obviously it has a direct impact on your margins. And ultimately your profitability around it. So make sure that when you look at the cost and profitability picture, that you really pay attention to what you're signing up for. And it's often missed because, again, everybody's talking about backup and they just approach it as a checkbox when it clearly isn't and has long-term consequences. Because these solutions are super sticky. Like, it's not easy to switch from one to another. So you got to make the right decision sort of day one rather than we got it wrong and we'll just fix it a year down the line. And we've seen a lot of examples of that. In the market.
Niels, I'm a former MSP. I talk to MSPs every day, and generally the things that keep them up at night have been consistent last 5 or 6 years. Number one, cybersecurity. Yeah. If their clients get attacked, they're going to have to allocate resources. They're probably going to get fired from their client. They might even get sued. Right. Top concern. 2 is human capital. If their main technicians leave, how are they going to replace them? Unemployment in IT here in the States is 1%, worried about their team. Yeah. And 3rd is just general growth. Their private equity has poured in hundreds of millions of dollars. Their friends are selling their MSPs. Yeah. How are they going to grow? Yeah. How can you help?
So it comes back to, this needs to be simple, right? So we talk about a solution completeness. So if you look at the cybersecurity space, like I came actually from a time where I came of the archiving space and we got acquired by Veritas, which was a backup company.
Oh, yeah,
and I went
Veritas.
together with Symantec, which was a security company.
Yes.
So we did this in 2005. Right, so this whole idea of security and data management coming together has been around for some time. We were probably a little bit early, and then we had some execution challenges along the way, but it was the right idea. And so you should not see it as a vendor, you should not see those as two different things. As an MSP, you should not treat it as a different thing. When you solve for security, you have to make sure that you have resilience around your data as well as your what I call the data, the data plane and then the identity plane, control plane. So if you think about that, enhancing your security, then obviously you have to be able to recover. That becomes a key thing. And again, a lot of MSPs are missing this. I think the second part is it needs to be easy to use. You need to be able to, the ease of business really matters, but it also needs to be easy to use, right? So you don't want to bring something in that if something goes wrong, now you spend 3 weeks trying to do something and it's really hard to do. It's sort of set and forget, but in case of recovery, it's click and what you need and get on. And that's where Keepit has been maniacally focused on ease of use and ease of business around those particular pieces. And that's really important because we're talking about MSP and resources. I also see this in enterprise. I mean, finding people that really understand what's going on, sort of skill level.
Yes.
It's hard to find.
It's rare, huh?
It's hard to find. And then I think the third piece, if you what I said earlier, it's not just about M365. Like this expansion of SaaS, this adoption of AI continues to happen. So if you have more and more workloads you can protect, then obviously upsell, cross-sell just continues to happen sort of organically, where if you just have one solution, I just do this particular piece, you sell it, you're done. Right? So from a customer perspective, we allow basically MSPs to expand their portfolio services, in portfolio around that, and grow with them as their needs ultimately change and increase ultimately. Because again, one of the things that I think with backup, you get easily put in a little box and say, well, it's just backup. But actually what matters with SaaS data and with AI especially is, well, what else can you do with this data? And that becomes actually the really interesting opportunity down the line. So, for example, with Keepit, we have things like anomaly detection. We can actually inform your security products to say, hey, pay attention to this, something's changed, whatever it may be. But you could also think about it the other way, where you have security products telling us, I'm not quite sure what's happening here, start staging a recovery. That type of thing, right? So there's all these things that you can, think about as far as providing additional value to your customers, and ultimately you reduce your risk with your customers and as an MSP to make sure they're covered.
What should vendors do to be better partners with MSPs?
Listen. I mean, it's interesting, right? So the biggest thing is listen, and also making sure that, and I've been on the enterprise space a long time, and the last 5 years I've been more and more with the MSPs. And what you see a lot of vendors do is they have an enterprise product and they're trying to cram it down into the MSP space. The MSP space have different needs from an organization perspective. So vendors need to pay attention, coming back to be in love with the problem. What you just said, the three things you just stated, like those are specific things they need to solve for. So be really focused in your offering and making sure that you solve for those specific things, which are not exactly the same as what we see, for example, in enterprise. Versus, be everything to everybody. That I think that's a key focus, and that's where I see a lot of products actually go wrong.
So, Niels, I started my MSP back in the 90s. I was working way too hard, not paying attention to myself, and eating poorly. And well, I appreciate that. You're not so bad yourself. Yeah. So I'm in front of the doctor, and I got up to 340 pounds.
Holy crap.
I didn't even know it. Yeah, terrible. I was in my 20s. Your body, it doesn't.
So you lost 2/3 of yourself.
I did. Yeah, but I'm about 200 now, so I'm a third. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So she says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. Yeah. So she scared me. So I lost about 120 pounds in 6 or 7 months, kept it off, and when I tell these people the story, they say, how'd you do it? What's your secret? And there's no secret, Niels. Discipline, right? Motivation, routine. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Well, it's funny you actually said, because over the last year, I went through a health scare myself.
Really?
Yeah, I was not that heavy, but I was also about 20 pounds. 20 kilos, so it's about 30 pounds.
30, yeah.
And it comes back to, discipline. It's really like, it's putting things in perspective. So there's a couple key pieces. One, discipline. So I started running every day, and don't care, I just do it, and now I need it, so I'm almost compulsive about it. Wow. I think the other part, and this is the part to the working part, it is almost hard, like people do not take enough time to reflect. So what you did ultimately, you had your doctor, and then you had to reflect to say, I got to do something because I'm not going to see my kids grow up. And then,
that's right.
So, and then out of that, you had to have discipline to do something about it. But I've changed this in my life over myself, because I'm kind of, I don't know, high strung. I don't even know if you can tell that, but I think this is also what happens in the business world. And certainly as MSPs, it's your business. There's always something to do. There's always a reason to run. So what I've changed in my life, and I also do this with the people I work with, like Fridays, I really don't want meetings. I want time to reflect. I sit on my porch and just reflect on the business, on myself. How do I feel? Where do I go? But, slow down to go fast is like kind of the Jackie Stewart in Formula One was a big thing.
Yes.
That's so important. But that's what most people don't do. And it's hard because we get all these impulses, especially with technology speeding up, the promise of AI. The world is is obviously in a weird spot. It's a mess everywhere. How do you stop? How do you reflect? That's the biggest thing that you got to do, in my opinion. And so that's true in private lives, but it's also true in business.
Yeah, reflect and also celebrate your wins.
Celebrate your wins.
A lot of people just kind of move on to the next. Yeah, it can be as small as a high five or as large as, go on a trip, but celebrate those wins too. Give you time to reflect.
Don't be the dumpster over a loss.
Right.
Learn from it.
Learn quickly.
On.
Yeah.
But that comes back to, you got to take time. That's why I'm saying reflect, because you got to take the time to do those things. Because that's where you see it. That's with wins especially, man. It's so, we want that one. I want that one now.
Right.
You immediately move on.
Right. Yeah. Not good. Not healthy.
Scotty Scheffler said something about that.
The golfer.
The golfer, when he was talking about, he wins majors, and then he says the high lasts for about 10 minutes.
Right.
So what do I know next?
Yeah. Tiger Woods did too. Yeah.
I mean,
Those. I remember hearing John McEnroe in tennis saying that the lows of losing were a lot lower than the highs of winning.
Because it evens out.
Yeah. Incredible.
And that's where you miss it. And I don't know how you did in your life when you were in MSP, but one of the things I had to learn, so I've always been on the product side, strategy side, working with customers, customer success. It's hard to be, and especially in IT, I find it, I have to work on being in the moment.
Interesting.
It's hard. It's so easy to always just be ahead.
Right.
Think ahead and not really be present.
Right. Yeah. What's happening now? Yeah.
So as you get older and you have some scares or some calls to reality, you know your clock is ticking. So that's an important thing.
And you have appreciation.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and that comes, the appreciation part, that actually, it's kind of how these things come around, because that comes back to why I really enjoy being in these types of events and actually talking to customers, because that comes back to the appreciation and being in the moment with them. And that's actually the really satisfying part of the job to me.
So your message to MSPs this week, if they don't know about SaaS data protection, they should, and they should look at a quality partner to partner with.
Exactly, and think short and long term, and not everything that you see is equal, right? It's easy to sort of have the idea of, we check the box so we have backup. Like M365 backup, vendor A, vendor B, vendor C, what's the difference? They all say they do the same thing. No, they're not the same.
Right.
You have to really pay attention to what the difference are, not just in context of the initial cost to you, but the context of the services you can provide to your customer, but then your ongoing cost and risk in context of, what you're trying to solve for as far as the problem. And that's missed. That's missed all over the place.
It's a wide open opportunity for so many MSPs. Yeah.
It's massive, man. There's so much. Yeah, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
You can build a whole portfolio around it. And we've seen, this is, by the way, this is not being an oracle. I think this is going to happen. We've seen this picture before, like 10, 15 years ago in the on-prem days. There was this idea going from backup to copy data management.
Right.
The whole idea was, you have all the data, and it's not just a point in time, it's all the data. Why don't you use it? And that's the same is going to happen here.
It really is.
And especially with AI and basically unlocks that even more so, because you have this data. Well, what is it that you need to be doing with it? Can you actually manage it? Can you get value out of it? And that's always, we've talked about it for a long, long time. It's always been a bit out of reach, especially for the MSP and the smaller customers. AI levels the playing field. You can actually use it now and actually make your customer more profitable, while you yourself also become more profitable.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Anybody watching, listening, wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
So the easiest way is, I have a super easy email, which is called it's nin@keepit.com. Or ping me on LinkedIn, Niels van Ingen with Keepit. Happy to have a discussion. And again, very much with the idea of helping the outside in view and being focused on the problem and then get to the right solution.
Niels, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Same here, man. Enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the Video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.